Hey there guys, Mike here. Mike's DVDs and Blu-rays collection is back with a Western Roundup update. That's right guys and gals out there. I'm back with some new Western movies that I've watched and collected and picked up and even rewatched and got off the shelf here lately. Love the Western genre. Love spaghetti Westerns and neo-Westerns and old Westerns and silent Westerns. There's great ones in all genres and subgenres. So let's get right to it, guys. Now, these are some movies that, now some of these, let me see. I'm going to say I got all of these off the shelf, but I wanted to rewatch these. Now, this is not so much a, like, new pickups, you know, new pickups, but you know, these were I got these off the shelf to rewatch because I really wanted some cool stuff to watch, and I had read up on some of these movies and I wanted to get them out and stuff. So this is a cool movie. Now, a lot of people may know this one from getting like some of the Arrow Django Blu-ray releases and 4K. No, it's not with the 4K, I don't think, but Arrow has stuck this movie with Django at least 3 times in some of their Blu-ray releases and stuff. So you get this movie, Texas Adios, with Franco Nero, and I guess they included it because Franco Nero's in Django, Corbucci's 1966 masterpiece. But great movie. I wanted to rewatch it because a lot of times I watch Django and then forget to kind of put this one in too and watch it, you know. But yeah, this was directed by Fernando Baldi, and it's got some great extras and stuff on there. But I really wanted to check out what was this? Who was the other person in here? Little note, cinematography was done by Enzo Barboni, which, you know, he worked on Django and stuff, Nightmare Castle even, I've talked about in a recent video. Who's the bad dude in here? Alberto Della Acqua? I don't know, guys, I'm sorry, but anyways, Texas Adios, really cool, really great little, when did this come along? Let's see, Django was 66, this was like, I believe this was 66 also, yeah, you see Franco Nero sharpening his, you know, doing his thing, you know, he's perfect as a gunslinger in a Western, spaghetti Western. He's just so iconic and everything. But yeah, Franco Nero, there you go. So yeah, I watched that one, and then gosh, man, you just have to watch this one. This next one is just a classic. This has to be up there with, you know, everybody's, you know, Westerns on their shelves. You know, you got the good, the bad, and the ugly, and you got your Django's, and you got all that stuff, but you got to check out this one. This was directed by Julio Petroni. This is Death Rides a Horse. And what can I say about this? I mean, Lee Van Cleef is absolutely badass in this. John Philip Law, I believe I don't know. I've heard people say maybe he was miscast, that he looked a little too blonde, a little too American, I guess, or something. I don't know. What do you think? I think he's perfect in this. I mean, he's become iconic, obviously, in this movie. Great movie of revenge. Basically, you know, Lee Van Cleef did a couple movies where he kind of fosters, kind of mentors a younger guy in the you know, the gunfighting ways, you know, how to shoot and do all this stuff and everything. But yeah, it's great. You know, just a great Western, man. It's really, really good. I mean, everybody may know this, but in case you're watching this, you've never seen this. Four bandits massacre this young man's family. He's kind of watching it happen. It opens up with the mom and the dad, and I believe maybe a sister or something. They all get massacred, and he's hiding really good. And they're basically like, okay, finish them all off and burn the house. They rob the place and leave. Lee Van Cleef's the last bandit, but we don't know it's Lee Van Cleef, or do we? But he kind of sees the kid. He takes him out. He hides him. You know, he burns down the house. Am I doing the story of a different story of the mentor, or is that right? But anyways, but 15 years later, he comes across this guy. Lee Van Cleef goes to prison because of this, and he gets 15 years. When he gets out, he wants to track down the leader of this gang he was in to get his cut of the money, but this guy has basically bought this town. He runs it. It's crooked. He's got all his other cronies running things. All the ex-people are surrounded, but they all end up coming back here to this town. Big shootout with Lee Van Cleef, and then you got the young guy, John Philip Law, breaking up in there. I mean, just such a great classic movie. I mean, in the way it's done, I mean, you got all the cinematography, you got the director, all these guys were young and on fire, and this was making a masterpiece. I mean, this was 1967, so spaghetti westerns was the new hot thing at that point. I mean, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, I guess, had just come to America, I believe. After, it was 1966 when it was made, but it took a while to get to, or was it? Well, no, they had a distribution deal with United Artists or whatever it was. So, anyway, I don't know. But anyways, they were on fire at that point, and this was a great movie. This is a movie I wanted to come back to and watch because it's one that I don't watch as much, by Sergio Corbucci. And this was a movie he made, when was it, 72, 71? But it's kind of a comedic western. It's kind of a track 'em down, kind of Bonnie and Clyde in the western thing, and I think that's what they were shooting for. Corbucci was trying to go for the Bonnie and Clyde in the West, but have somebody after them, and have the semi-comic thing where it stars Tomas Milan, and he's really violent to the woman in this, played by Susan George, and she was on fire at that point. She was doing all kinds of stuff. She was about to work with Peckinpah in Straw Dogs. I mean, she was doing some really different kind of roles. I mean, a lot of the directors was having her be beat up, and like everything else in these movies and stuff was kind of harsh. She was getting some harsh roles around there, but they all ended up being like classic movies and stuff. At least Straw Dogs to a certain degree. But this also has Telly Savalas in it. The movie I'm talking about is Sonny and Jed. I watched the Wild East DVD edition, which also has the Ugly Ones on here that stars Tomas. And but they later on released a better Blu-ray edition of the Ugly Ones, and it looks really good. And unfortunately, they went out of business, but they got a lot of highly collectible releases, DVDs of some of these rarer spaghetti westerns that really don't have homes anywhere else, and they don't have good print and stuff. So there's some good ones. But anyways, Sonny and Jed, Tomas Milian, Susan George, Corbucci and his inimitable style made a crazy movie. I mean, Tomas Milian, all through the movie, he's beating her up, he's slapping her around, he's loving on her, he's kissing her, he's da-da-da. They hate each other, they love each other. They're just some really rough moments in it. Telly Savalas is trying to track Tomas down. Susan George just gets kind of mixed up with them, mixed up in this chase, between Savalas and Milan, and everything. But really interesting. I wanted to watch it again just because I don't know. I wanted to watch it again. I think I heard a podcast or something about it, and I wanted to catch up on it. So it's a really good movie. Now, I recommend all of these. I'll just tell you that Sonny and Jed's got some, it's a little bit of, it's kind of violent. Let's just say it's violent, okay? Next up, this is one of my favorite Joel McCrea movies. This was released by Warner Archive this past year, 2023, on Blu-ray, and I heard it's absolutely great looking. But every time I try to order it, it's out of stock at Amazon and stuff. So I'm just going to wait a while since I have it. But this DVD is the previous burned on DVD, and it really doesn't look that bad. It really doesn't. But I can imagine the Blu-ray, probably on a Blu-ray 50 disc, will look really good. But the movie I'm babbling about is directed by Jacques Tourneur, the one and only Witchita, which was a really great Western, filmed in CinemaScope and Technicolor. It's got Edgar Buchanan, he's got Wallace Ford, Lloyd Bridges, Vera Miles, Peter Graves, kind of a young Peter Graves. Who else is in this? Produced by Walter Mirisch. So you got a really cool cast and filmmakers here behind the camera and everything. This was made for Allied Artists, and it's really cool. Really great movie. I mean, Joel McCrea, what can I say? He's, when you see a Joel McCrea Western, you know what you're going to get, unless he's really mixing it up. But for the most part, he always played the good guy, the good, pretty good guy, and did it well. Him and Randolph Scott did that kind of stoic, kind of slower, action star. They're not like jumping off bridges and jumping out of wagons and doing rolls, and they're older actors, but they really bring it to the screen, no matter what level of quality it is. But basically, he's playing Wyatt Earp. He ends up in Wichita, and basically, he cleans up the town. I mean, he played Wyatt Earp in this. I mean, some other people that played Wyatt Earp: Henry Fonda, Richard Dix, Burt Lancaster, Kurt Russell, Kevin Costner. So it's one of those legendary Western characters being played out and stuff. So, but yeah, Wichita, really good. I recommend to pick that up. I would look for the Blu-ray, which would be a much better recommendation. Next up, this is another movie from Fernando Baldi. This time we got Terrence Hill, who kind of looked like Franco Nero a little bit, and they kind of used him, directors kind of used him as kind of a fill-in for Franco Nero, I think, in the beginning. But Terrence Hill really, he hit his stride in like 71 or so, 70, 71 with the Trinity movies. Then Bud Spencer would team up with them in a few Westerns, but then they ended up a career of doing these like buddy movies in Italy, cop movies and comedies and everything. But this was in the beginning, and this is a movie, also a Blu-ray from Arrow, Django Prepare a Coffin. And I think they were trying to do, it's not a sequel to Django by any means, but it's got the gun. He's kind of playing a Django type of character and stuff in this, but none of the original people are involved in it. Corbucci, Nero are not in this. But yeah, what was I gonna say about this? Yeah, he's just he goes up against a local politician and everything. But But yeah, it's got like a story of, you know, his wife being killed and stuff like that. So I'm not really, I don't want to give you the false information if they're using some of the plot of the original Django in this. I think that's what they're doing, but it's kind of different. But overall, I mean, it's just it's great. It's a great spaghetti western. It really is. It's just, that's why I get off the shelf. It's just fast and fun. It's not the super classic, but you know, it's not Django, but it's pretty damn good. Let's just put it that way. And finally, guys, I wanted to really watch this one. This is another big color movie from 1949. This time we're in America. This is Paramount Pictures. As you know, if you ever watched any of my other videos, especially my film noir videos, you know that I really love John Payne. He's such a great actor. He was really good in westerns. He was even better, I think, in film noir. But here's one of his really good westerns. This time he's teamed up with the beautiful Gail Russell. You know I love Gail Russell also with a lot of the movies I've talked about her in. It's got Sterling Hayden. I mean, great. You know how much I like Sterling Hayden. It's got Gabby Hayes in it, which, you know, I like Gabby Hayes. I mean, he's really the unsung comic relief of these old movie westerns that doesn't get a lot of props these days, let's face it. But man, you got Payne, Hayden, Russell, Gabby Hayes. This movie's freaking off the chain. And it's directed by Lewis Foster, which was a very competent director. This is from Kino. They did a 4K scan of a original 2-color negative and positive separation. 2-color negative of the original 35mm negative, guys. This is El Paso. And I really like this movie. It's a lot of fun. It's got a great little cover there. I think it's got dual artwork, yeah. Dual artwork. It's got a great cast. It zips by, what is it, 88? Oh, it's 103 minutes. Hey, it's a little longer than normal, but this was a big production, I believe. They did a bigger production with this. I mean, Sterling Hayden was pretty new. This is before he did the Asphalt Jungle, everything like that. So he's pretty new. This is just a couple years after the war. Gail Russell was pretty much established. I think she had done the what was it The Uninvited? What's the horror movie she did? I think it was The Uninvited, I believe. And so she was still pretty new, doing some stuff. She's about to work with John Wayne and stuff. So I think she was starting her decline actually at this point with alcohol. But anyways, and George Gabby Hayes, this is a young, newer, well, no, it's not really. It's he would work with Randolph Scott in a couple years later, and in a series of movies he would partner up with him as the, you know, comic relief basically. But he had worked with he's more famous working with Roy Rogers. Is it Roy Rogers? See, I'm not really up on those older westerns, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not really a big fan so much of the early 1930s John Wayne, you know, before he did Stagecoach, you know, those string of cheap westerns he did. I'm not really a fan of the 30s Randolph Scott movies that he did, the cheapies he did. But you know, other people were more famous, like Roy Rogers and people like that were famous back then. And apparently he was associated with one of them, and he gets remembered for that more. But I think working with Randolph Scott, he was really good. Teamed up with him and stuff. But this time he's up against a more serious actor, John Payne, and everything. But great little cast. I just had to kind of give them some love for a minute, because there's so many other movies that I've seen them in that I just love them in. And this is this isn't the best Western ever made, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, it actually has a plot going in it that you can get into. It's 103 minutes, so it's letting some stuff unfold and some stuff breathe a little bit. this does have a great supporting cast. H.B. Warner, I mean, he's been in everything. He's just been in so much stuff, and you don't recognize him often. But Henry Hull's really good in this, and but yeah, Lewis Foster. Lewis Foster wrote the screenplay and directed it. So there you go. So there you go, guys. I got some Westerns off the shelf for this Western Roundup update. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with just going and loving on your collection, man. That's what it's there for. I mean, us people that love movies and then we collect the movies we love, it's meant to watch them over again. And it's really cool when you can just go to your shelf and be like, man, what do I want to watch? Because you've built a great collection of stuff to watch, and every once in a while you just got to go and just get some of those great movies off the shelf and rewatch them, and maybe let the new releases stay on hold for a minute and just kind of love on your collection a little bit, because that's what it's there for. And it's love of movies and everything. So there you go. And I love Westerns just like you do. So give me some love, give me some comments and some thumbs up and everything like that. Check my channel out. Check out my Western videos, guys. I'm just really passionate about Westerns and the older, 50s American Westerns and the 60s, and then you got the spaghetti Westerns and stuff. And there's some really damn good modern Westerns, from the last 20 years or so, and 30 years. So there you go. Check them out. You guys take it easy out there. I'm going to ride on out. You guys stay frosty.